Excuse me, sir.
Color mic.
Which is for video recording.
Okay, no problem.
Mic, ఇది
Okay, no issue. The photos పంపుతారా photos? ఓకే 3:30 మనం 4:30 వరకు 4:45.
Good afternoon, everyone. Once again, welcome back to the session
sir,
2
account details తీసుకోండి సార్
of ICSSR sponsored 7-day research methodology course on technology in research for young researchers, organized by Department of Commerce and Management, K.B.N College Autonomous, in collaboration with ICSSR SRC Hyderabad. In the morning, we have seen an informative session from today's chief guest, Professor B. Sudhakar Reddy Garu. And now, in the day 1 session 2, we have one more eminent personality, again from ICSSR SRC. He is none other than Dr. Jacob Kalle Garu. He is going to take the session 2 of this 7-day
and also formulating your objectives and also hypothesis. Then the important stage comes to one should reach to is the methodology. So you have a over in the broad spectrum of research methodology, there are different steps involved in the process. So this is the crux of main backbone of any research. If you are thorough with your right methodology, right, so that means people generally, scholars says 50% of your job is done. So methodology is one should be very strong in methodology. Therefore they can pursue any research, any topic they can handle, having strong foundation in the research methodology, right? So that is the idea. So now I thought of giving you some sort of overview, and as I said, many of you might aware of some of the aspects that I'm going to deal. So So what demarcates generally, to begin with, let us begin with some simple question. So what demarcates social science research from the natural science research? What are the, why we call scientific research versus social science research? What are the basic tenets of science that demarcates the research we do in social sciences? What are the basic tenets? What are the basic tenets of science? Why we call some research is scientific research vis-a-vis the social science research? What are the basic principles that science people follow, researchers in science follows, so as to call it as a scientific research? We followed scientific methods, right? So what are the basic principles that governs natural science research? Any idea? Why people call it as a natural science research? What are the basic foundations? Why they call it as a scientific research? That research in science, what are the foundation, what are the basic tenets they follow? What are the basic principles that they govern the science research? Any idea?
In science research, there may be some laws are formulated.
Yes.
Based on that, entire science research are experiment oriented.
Yes.
The results are must be correlated with their basic principles or laws,
Yes.
comparing with their based on their experiment. Whereas in social sciences, it may be very in cultures, society, depending on a lot of variables.
Any other idea?
Scientific theories are almost universally acceptable. It is a completely practical experiments.
Yes.
Whereas coming to the social science is a completely knowledge and skill application.
Any other idea? This side, on my left. Women. Any idea? Just why we call?
As per ethics, we found that
Please be seated.
scientific
Be seated.
research is based on medical, first they have research on medical concepts like this. It made on to animals. Later, it developed by the Benton, I think, it was it was developed to the human research, and the research should be not restricted, sir. And it should be, we can withdraw the research, all of this. We can, when we ask the questions to anyone, we should not restrict him, or it should not be the conflict of interest, right? Things will be there in social science.
Okay. Any other ideas from this side? Just you share whatever comes to your mind. Is not like, I don't believe in lecture mode, it's interaction. You can speak anything, whatever comes to your mind you can tell.
Social science is related to study of the people life, and scientific we use people as well as innovation.
Okay, good. Any other ideas? This side, any other ideas? What principles that govern the scientific research?
Scientific research is based on some theories, concepts and applications.
Yes.
Whereas social sciences does not depend on.
Okay. Any ideas? This side. Whatever stray ideas comes to your mind, whatever stuck to your mind, we can spell. We are just the kind of interaction. Let us interact, more interaction than class. You see here, please.
Social science is based upon what is doing in the society, present, what is happening in the society, whereas scientific research is what we have to introduce or what we have to make to the society level.
Yes. So broadly, some of you have come very closer to the discussion, and these two people, they have said some, like one of them have said some laws they follow, some of the governing laws that they follow, laws that govern scientific research, and also he was telling about universal application of the science, right? So any other ideas? So overall, what happens in scientific research is, so they are very true in that sense. So it has some science, science has universal applicability, right? It governed by some laws, right? And also people call scientific research as objective, right? It's an objective because anyone can test that experiment and get the same results, right? Scientific research, if 2 plus 2 and 2 plus 2 becomes 4 for USA also. Any scientific research for that matter has some universal applicability. Second is, they say it is objective, and in the sense they say it's neutral to me. Either he conducts research or she conducts research, some experiment, they get the same results following some laws, right? And they say it's a neutral. Neutrality is also one of the important principles that science believes, right? So neutrality, universal applicability, objectivity. Neutrality in the sense unbiased. There is no bias. For science there is no bias. You conduct same research, you get same results. So then, whatever I am speaking now, they are part of my slides, but let us discuss whenever there is a need. I will then open the slides, okay? So then the question is, can we follow the scientific methods, the principles that govern science in social sciences? That is the important research question. Can we apply same principles that are very, very important in the context of science? So are they applicable to social sciences? That is the question. Yes or no? Will they be applied to social sciences? Are they? So do we say there is some method, well, single methodology? Can we apply like sciences, a single methodology in social sciences? Universal methodology, some methodology? Is it? Can we prove that the social science knowledge is universally applicable? Is it applicable universally?
That may be very situations and circumstances.
Is objectivity possible in social science research? Why do we call it? I have conducted objective scientific research, we claim. Is objective knowledge, objective way of looking at the phenomena, is it possible in social sciences? But then why are we claiming that our research, whoever conducts their PhD, they say, I have done objective scientific methods I have followed and I have produced this knowledge? Is it possible? Why it is not possible in social science? If possible, why it is possible? If not, why it is not possible? Applying these scientific principles in social science research. That is the question. That is what we are going to discuss now. Any ideas? Please.
Science means accumulation of knowledge. Technology means refinement in tools. Whereas in social science, I know one recipe, how to make a egg curry. You need some spicy items, chilies, sauce and so and so. So I make a recipe, we need all these things, like arts environment is there. Suppose, whereas in Newton, motion's law, Rai bike is written. And gravitation force can touch earth. It's a physical science. Whereas in economic science, which is why I call it as economics. Economics is one of a branch of social science.
Yes.
See, if price increases, demand decreases. How it is possible? Demand either increases or decreases. How can we justify based on the price? So there is a relation. So social science is one of the science. Isn't it, sir?
Okay. It's one way of putting the thing. Good, very good. So idea is like when we talk about the social science research, whenever we speak, so the whole idea of conducting these workshops or methodology courses and the capacity building programs and these are all why one semester coursework is being part of our PhD program in universities, and also why ICSSR is promoting such kind of programs. So in order to upskill and reskilling and also acquiring some knowledge, tools and techniques. Therefore, we are expected to go near to the objectivity. We are expected to go near to the objectivity, near to the scientific methods. Well, we would say, people say we should follow. We always know whenever he said he is talking about recipe. So recipe means what? Food is what? Food is a cultural marker. Food is when I go to a sabji mandi, a vegetable market, when I see brinjal, brinjal, how many brinjals are available in mandi? 10 to 12 varieties of brinjals are available. Whenever I see one brinjal, my eyes looking at some brinjal, so immediately I get gutti vankai curry in my mind. Or else I get some chutney in my mind. So by deciding, I will buy purchase. I would like to make this recipe. Therefore, I need a particular variety of brinjal. Right? So already I have some idea as to why I am buying out of 12 varieties, why I am choosing one variety. So food is a cultural marker. How you cook, what you eat, how you eat, all is a shared meanings. We share a lot of intentions, emotions, meanings. So this is the research associated with the social sciences, because we deal with the human beings. It is not being happened in the vacuum or in a lab. It is in the open society. We are dealing with the human beings. Human beings means they carry a lot of baggages. The backpack, no? We have backpack. They carry a lot of things. What to wear? If I wear a shirt, there is an idea why I should wear, why I dress up this way today. Now, generally, I don't dress up like this. Why I dress up like this today? Because I have class. I should present myself very neatly. So therefore, the way we dress, the way we eat, the way we talk, the way we handle things, because we are human beings associated with a lot of emotions, intentions, meanings. So therefore, conducting a social science research, one particular methodology, particular method may not suit. Right? We need multiple methods to handle the human beings, because of the variations, because of the diversity, because of the complexity of the problem. Whatever the problem we deal with is a complex problem. That is why people nowadays talk about interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary kind of research. Now NEP primarily focusing on interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary research, right? So as to approach complex problems that we are dealing with, right? So therefore, the whole idea is, when one of the philosophers says the knowledge that we produce in social sciences is contested knowledge. It is a contested knowledge. So today, whatever that we produce, some research, suppose someone has done on women empowerment in some district today. So that may, over a period of time, the research may change, people may change, policies may change, and you see a different outlook altogether. Because we are dealing with the human beings, isn't it? So one particular single methodology, single approach may not be applicable to social science research. So that is why we have different disciplines, different compartmentalization of social science research. Economics, empowerment, if it is empowerment can be approached from economics, can be approached by sociologist, can be approached from a political scientist, or a gender experts may approach. So women empowerment is a concept, but doing research on empowerment means it is a multi-faceted term. right? So any different disciplines, people from different disciplines may approach the problem, the concept called empowerment in different perspectives, isn't it? Yes or no? So any concept in social science research, we always approach problems, that concept from multiple perspectives, right? So that is where now people are saying you should come together, a multi and interdisciplinary approach you should adopt, right? So overall idea is, now what we have so far discussed is that the methodologies and these kind of workshops will take us to the near to the objectivity, near to the methodology neutrality, and near to the unbiased research. But actually, is it happening in social science research? That is $1 million question, right? So with this background, let us discuss some go. Next. So here, stop it. So you have just marked them in blue. So we are all striving towards originality, original research. So these kind of workshops will help us to get there. And also we can validate, nowadays people are talking about triangulation. Have anyone heard about triangulation? What is triangulation? We can triangulate our knowledge. Whatever the research that you produce, that can be triangulated. Triangulation for what purpose? Triangulation means what? So you need multiple methods, multiple approaches, multiple data sources, so as to see your findings are valid, findings are correct, right? So in order to test my own findings, I can have a kind of a triangulation approach. Thereby I can see whether my findings are correct, nearer to the truth or not, right? Next. So why research? So we are doing one of these four aspects. In research, what are we doing? One of these four objectives we are doing. Either you are filling the gaps, creating some new knowledge, or you are providing fresh interpretations, right? And sometimes you may fill the gap between the existing knowledge and the gaps in the research. Next. So this is where we discuss now, scientism and positivism. So these are the areas where people say, earlier people used to say that scientific principles are very much be implemented, used in the social science research to understand a social phenomena. That is what we have discussed so far. Next. See, natural versus social sciences, I said. The question is the meanings, values, and intention. Human beings always have meanings, values, and purposes and intention. Thereby, single methodology, single approach may not be possible in social science research. Next slide. That is why this question is, can social sciences take the procedures of natural sciences? Right? So that is where we have discussed. Next. So generally, in any research that we are conducting, in social science research in general, there are three fundamentals or three important questions that one need to address. Any topic that you are working, we need to have a broad overall idea on three questions, right? First question is the philosophies of social sciences, worldviews. That means my topic, whatever the page topic you are handling, whether quantitative methodologies are suitable to that question, the topic, or qualitative methods are applicable, important, are relevant for your research work, or mixed methods, mixing both. First you need to decide that. First question is whether your problem can be approached through only quantitative methods or only qualitative methods, or your research problem needs both combination of complementing both quantitative as well as qualitative methods. That you need to decide. But that depends upon your research question. That depends upon your topic and objectives. One can decide what kind of methodology, quantitative or qualitative or both, that one need to decide first. Then once you decide that, next one is you need to have some kind of methodologies, whatever the strategies. Like suppose if it is a quantitative research, then you need to have whether it is experimental or non-experimental. What kind of research? If it is a qualitative research alone, then you can decide whether you can approach through ethnography or case study methods, right? That you need to decide your strategy of your research. That means the methodology, overall methodology that guides your research, right? That you need to decide. And third important aspect is once you decide that methodology, you need to evolve some method. Suppose if it is a survey research, experimental survey research, then you need to have some kind of questionnaire you need or interview schedule requires for your work, right? Or you want any focus group discussion. If it is a qualitative research, then one need to decide whether participant observation, non-participant observation, or focus group discussion, or case studies, or ethnography. So whatever the methods you need for data collection. Because what are we doing? We have a problem, we have some objectives, we are collecting evidences. We need to collect evidence in support of our hypothesis, in support of our research questions, right? Evidence, no? Evidence, how do we collect evidence? First you need to decide whether quantitative evidence you want for suits for our study or qualitative evidence suits for our study. If it is a quantitative that suits to your study, then you need to have a tool, either it is a questionnaire or interview schedule, right? So if it is a qualitative, then again you need to decide, right? So then you collect the data. Once data comes to you, then you analyze the data using some tools and techniques. You have so many quantitative, so many text data, you have so many techniques. In qualitative also some techniques are there. And then you draw inferences, right? Based on those inferences and findings, you prove or disprove your hypothesis. This is the process, no? So you need, for that, doing that, you need to address any research topic, you need to sit down and work on these three important questions. For doing that, these kind of workshops will help you. How do I decide on these three questions? That is why ICSSR is very conducting so many research methodology programs across South India in order to answer these three questions for you, for your own research. That is why morning also I told, whenever you have a resource person with you, you take your own topic and ask these three questions. Not resource person, you ask to yourself. After listening to some session, you ask to yourself, what is my methodology? What kind of, either I should go with quantitative methods or qualitative methods, or mix of both, right? So what kind of methodology I should adopt? Is it experimental, non-experimental, or survey research, or ethnography, or case study, if it is a qualitative research. Then the third one is, you need to have some tools to collect the data. If it is a quantitative research, you need a questionnaire in hand. Either you can send it across using some enumerators, right? An interview schedule that researcher alone can conduct interaction with the respondents, right? So these things you need to decide, right? For any research. Next. So then the stages, you know that stages, first you have some research gaps, and then questions, then data collection, presentation, analysis, discussion, and conclusion. These are the stages, different stages in the research process. That's what we discussed now. Next. So overall, once you decide this, then one need to have an understanding on what are the types of research. Social sciences, broadly speaking, these are the types of research you are conducting. You can also ask questions. You can ask yourself, what kind of research you are doing. How many of you are doing quantitative research? Purely quantitative tools and techniques, quantitative methods. Your research relies only on quantitative methods. How many of you doing? Raise your hand. Only quantitative methods. purely qualitative? Qualitative methods like ethnography, case study method, or phenomenology, mixing quantitative and qualitative. You are not raising, are you doing research, PhD or not?
Yes, sir. But we are in starting stage, sir. Actually, recently we got...
No, some of you may be in advanced stage. Who is in the second year of your PhD? Third year of your PhD, raise your hands. Second, third years. Even if you do not know, no problem. If it doesn't know, no problem. Just raise it, just to discuss, for discussion sake. Even if you are not familiar, no problem, we can discuss. But who are in the second year? How many are in second year? Raise full hands, not half hands. And third year of your research? First year, how many? You raise your hands, first year. But this, where are you? Fifth year or sixth year?
Sir, I have completed.
You are completed. They are not raising the hands. Are you faculty here?
Yes,
They are faculty, some of you. Okay, no problem. So finally, how many have come up? How many participants have come? Finally, 24, 20. Okay. Others are coming. Others join tomorrow. But they are mixing some important sessions. So then in that case, so broadly speaking, any social science research that we are conducting, so these are the broader types. So I thought of just taking you through all these types for this in the session. So on the basis of objective of research, you can see fundamental research, applied and action research, right? If you go by the nature of data, qualitative and quantitative, right? So findings, explanatory, exploratory and descriptive. Whose mobile is working here? Any? Then on the basis of experimental manipulations, right? So you can see experimental research and non-experimental research, right? And on the basis of approach involved, that is longitudinal and cross-sectional research, right? So these are all your research, whatever the PhD topics you are dealing with, you are adopting combination of these types, adopting combination of these types. You might be collecting either quantitative or qualitative. If it is a data, either quantitative, qualitative or both. It should be a cross-sectional or longitudinal, right? It should be an experimental or non-experimental research, right? So likewise, combination of these types that we are using in social science research. Let us go one after the other. Next, go. See, basic and fundamental research. This is for knowledge sake. What the gentleman has referred Newton here, right? So Newton, when Newton was there, some now I think when 300, 400 years back, so Newton was there. Before the Newton was also, apples were falling down. Before Newton born also, apples were falling down. People were eating them and sleeping happily. Falling and eating and happily sleeping, right? So for centuries, thousands of years, apples were falling. We are eating, enjoying, relishing on them and sleeping back, right? But one person questioned. One fine day, apple fell on him, he questioned, why this apple is coming down? Why is it not going up? He didn't eat that. He was questioning because there is curiosity to know. So one needs the curiosity. In any field of research, any field, one need to have motivation and research, motivation and curiosity, right? If you are very curious about certain things, then you will master it. You will excel in that, right? If you are not curious, you are just non-attached to that, or just a casual attitude you have, then you don't learn, right? So Newton was the person first raised that fundamental question. Right? Then he was probing into that question. Then finally he arrived at 3 universal laws, right? So one of the important laws, all of us. 2 I don't remember. 1 everyone must remember. What is that? Yeah, this all of us remember, but other two we don't remember, right? So this is the Newton. Now we are 21st century. We are discussing about Newton because of his curiosity, his motivation towards some. Only one question he raised, and that became a laws, universal laws, right? So therefore, in fundamental basic research, generally we should knowledge for knowledge sake. Next, Babu, next. So next one is applied. When we have some basic research in hand, suppose if you see the agriculture now, how many applications are there, scientific applications in agriculture? Medicine field you see. Earlier, now for a cataract surgery, you don't need a doctor. Robotics are doing now. Doctor will just facilitate, you'll just see, right? So many applications you have in medicine or ICT or in agriculture. So they're all applications of the basic research, fundamental research, then applied to the society in various sectors that are very, very important to human beings, right? Next. So action research is one of people sometimes in NGO sector or who are sitting at some important problems, they conduct action research. Next, right? So action research, some important question is both research and action both takes place simultaneously. Now I am sitting here, I am standing here, not sitting, standing here, then I can see how motivated you are, how carefully you are listening to or going through this session, right? I can change my gears. If I can see, so 80% of the people are not following up, then I can change my gear. Third gear to second gear to first gear, I can go. Anywhere I can move. So as to get your attention, draw your attention, involve you more in the process, right? So I am now teaching as well as doing some research on all of you, right? Whether what percentage of people are actively involving in the session, right? Then accordingly, I also change my methods of teaching. I also change my approach, right? Next slide. So this is analytical and exploratory. Philosophically, people say analytical, but in social we say exploratory research, explanatory research, explanation, right? So in the first slide, second slide we discussed. So provides new explanation to the existing problem, right? So providing new explanations means, so earlier, farmers, I always cite this example, farmers are committing suicides, right? When there was an issue of farmers committing suicides, and people came up with so many explanations why farmers are committing suicides. So what are those explanations? Can you provide one or two explanations why farmers are committing suicides?
No basic price. No, they are not getting the basic investment. No market facilities.
Market facilities and
Low prices. Support prices.
MSP.
Price policy.
MSP. Lack of MSP. Huh?
No ROI or less ROI? Return on investment. Return on investment.
Okay. But don't observations. You cannot follow the observations. Okay. Any other why farmers are committing suicides? There are so many. If you Google it, why farmers are committing research papers on farmers are committing suicide, you get so many papers, hundreds of papers, national, international papers you find. And if you put all the draw inferences from those papers, you get some points, important explanations researchers has provided. People once say is drought, climate change, drought is one reason one explanation they provide. And sometimes people say a price, so no return on, sometimes heavy rains, right? Sometimes indebtedness, so we have loans, can continue 2-3 years if crop losses occur, so then people borrow money and then they cannot repay it. So climate change, drought or lack of rainfall or indebtedness, right? Lack of support system, MSP. These are all 5-6 broad explanations are provided. If after this session you can Google it, you find explanations for farmer suicides. You get some list, right? So these are all how these explanations have come. They have not fallen down. Some of researchers, they have conducted thorough research all over India, different states, different parts, or some international researchers, or they have done some research here, and all have some agree, some disagree, but broadly speaking, 5-6 explanations they are providing for farmer suicides. So now, when so many explanations are already there, why should I conduct a research on farmer suicide again? I want to conduct a research on farmer suicides, but already 5 to 6 broad explanations are provided, research. But why should I conduct research now? Already. So you need, one can provide new explanations. There are 5 list of 5. I can provide 6th one or 7th one. I can also say disprove, these 5 are not correct. I will also say these are not correct for proper explanations. Already there, but not correct. But I can add 1 or 2 extra to the list of explanations, right? In Warangal district, when 90s, some research was conducted. So these people went to a village, researchers from Delhi, they have come and went to some village. And they are doing experimental research. You know experimental research? Any idea on experimental research? Well, in terms of sample, what you have 2 types of sample, what target groups, 2 types of target groups.
It gives immediate solution to the problem.
Yes, that is okay, but when experimental research, you have a target group and control group. Always you can have target group and control group. In all experiments, you are targeting something, but you have a control group who are not affected by that, right? So then you can see your research findings, how they are impacting both. Suppose if you are conducting research on farmer suicides, then you need to take some sample who have committed suicide, some sample who have not committed suicide. But same village, same background, same socio-cultural problems, socio-economic problems, same community. They were taken 2 neighbors. He has 1.5 acre, he is also having 1.5 acre, 2 families. And he has 3 lakhs loan, he also has 3 lakhs loan, right? And they also, last 3 years, they are incurring losses. He is also incurring losses 3 years. And this farmer committed suicide, the neighbor did not commit suicide. So same socio-economic problems, same backgrounds, same setup. But one farmer is committing suicide, other one is not committing suicide. Then the researchers dig into that issue. They already know indebtedness is one of the reasons for suicide. And also crop failure is also one of the reasons for suicide. Already the research is there already. So many papers, books are published. But these people want to go deeper into that issue. And they explored, then they finally found this person committed suicide. The same socio-economic background, that person did not commit suicide. One single explanation, new explanation that they provide is family solidarity. Family solidarity. And another important reason they found out is diversity of livelihoods. Diversity of livelihoods. So family solidarity means when you are in crisis, this wife says always, you are useless fellow. You don't know how to manage crops, how to manage a family. You don't know. You are good for nothing. So you deserve a death. So this is the family in the house. On the other hand, the wife always supports husband. No, don't worry. If not this year, next year we'll do. We are with you. Our children are with you. I am with you. And if not this year, next 3rd year we'll do. We are there. We can definitely overcome this problem. That is solidarity. Solidarity is family solidarity. So here, that solidarity worked well, and on the other hand, they don't have any family support. And another important idea is the multiplicity, diversity of livelihoods. They have, along with the crop, they have one buffalo. They also have a buffalo, which gives milk, constant income at the time of crisis, right? Whereas this person do not only sole income. On the other side, they have some extra income coming from livestock. So therefore, two extra explanations are added to the list of explanations. One is diversity of livelihoods may impacts rate of suicides, and also family solidarity on the other hand also impacts the quantum of suicides, right? So therefore, in explanatory research, you cannot sit on that already provided explanation. Nowadays, what people are doing, in these 5 explanations, I also observed the same 5 explanations, my PhD is submitted. You observed in Guntur district, I observed in Bapatla district. same explanations are coming. You observed in Andhra Pradesh, I observed in Telangana. Same are happening. So I am happy, you are also happy. Take my PhD. So that is the style we are doing. We are not going beyond already available explanations. We are not going deeper into the issue. We are stuck up somewhere. We always go for some easy and shortcut methods, whereby we always try to prove already existed explanations again in the new place or new sample, right? So that is why research always should come up with the new explanations. There are explanations, but you can either disprove those explanations or you can add to the list by going deeper into the research issue, right? Next. Exploratory issue means exploratory research is in the term itself explore, right? That means where you have very limited knowledge. There's some area, very limited knowledge. Suppose I worked on my PhD, I worked on genetically modified crops. I'm a STS expert, Science, Technology and Society expert. So I worked on GM crops. People were, in 2010 I registered for my PhD and I completed in 2015. So in 2010, a big debate was going on in India because you have a BT cotton, then scientists were ready with the BT brinjal. BT brinjal, that is not implemented, the technology. That is genetically modified food. First time in any vegetable in the world. First time they were ready to introduce in the Indian market. Brinjal, already if you go to market, 10, 20 varieties are available. So in that they wanted to bring in GM technology to address that bolls, fruit and shoot borers. పుచ్చొంకాయలు అంటాం కదా మనం, ఇది తెలుసు కదా పుచ్చం, బోరర్స్ ఉంటాయి కదా, there are borers, right? So fruit borers, they want to address that issue. One way of addressing is spraying externally. The other way of addressing is you can implant some technology in the seed itself so that the seed will develop resistance to that worm. As and when the worm comes, eats the leaf, it will die. So you need not to spray from external this thing. So the plant itself has some poison kind of thing, so that will, as soon as this insect comes, it will die. Then question is, can we eat that brinjal? So that is the question. So there was a big debate. Though there was no knowledge, no research that time, 2010. So immediately I registered for that. I took up that topic. My topic was post-normal science approach on genetically modified food in India, genetically modified food debate in India. So a case study of BT brinjal. So that was my PhD topic. So that time our Jairam Ramesh, the central minister, was going around India. Public consultations were happening all over India on whether to introduce this BT brinjal in the Indian market or not. Then finally they have not introduced. But people say already introduced. We are eating BT brinjal only. But we don't know. Nowadays, can you find the puchonkayalu dorako ippudu mee market? You see, you go to market, very rarely you find boars in that fruits, brinjal. Because Bangladesh has introduced that. Bangladesh, they have already introduced GM brinjal. So people are getting some source from there, and India also now we are eating GM brinjal unknowingly. But I don't know whether it is true or not. But when I compare with my childhood days, now brinjal I compare, I see that there is a significant difference. So there is now no those boars in that insects in the brinjals. Earlier, if we get 1 kg of brinjal in my home, half kg used to go out. Half kg usually we used to cook because half kg is a waste. So we cannot use that with all insects and all. Now you can use aram say 100 grams will not be there won't be 100 grams loss. For full kg we can cook now, right? So that is the idea is when don't worry when you don't have any review of literature on any topic. When I was doing, there was no review of literature on that because no studies were conducted before that. In 2010, before on GM crops in India, GM technology, GM food crops in India. Mine is one of the research. Some people were doing contemporary at that time, but I was one of the pioneering in that area. So when sometimes we may stuck up, there is no review of literature, how can I do? I want some shortcut. If I have a review of literature, then I can compile and then finish my research, right? So that was not the case. That is why exploratory research, which is very, very important. Hello, no slide. You jip. So exploratory means what? Don't worry, whenever there is no review of literature, no existing review of literature knowledge, don't worry. Then whatever you speak, that is truth. One advantage is, if you conduct a fresh research into a new area, then you are the person, you can say whatever you want. You need not refer to some others. No explanations, competition of these explanations. You can propose your own explanations. You are the number one. People in future, they may criticize you, they may go against your knowledge, but you are still, even criticism also one of the important research. You will be alive in the papers. So and so has spoke this, and which is nonsense. They can propose new things, right? So that way also you live in the people, in the researchers, right? So that is the idea. Next. So descriptive research is, any research we use description. Either quantitative, qualitative, any use, we use description. Descriptive research is also very useful because these NSSO surveys, right? In those surveys, they don't provide any explanations. In NSO surveys, NSSO surveys, they provide data. So and so tribal village, tribal hamlet, education is so much, or their occupations are so and so. One description is given. Suppose in Araku Valley, the tribals, women tribals education is 52% or 54%. That is the NSSO survey speaks. Then how does it help us? In so-and-so village, only one livelihood source is available. How does it help us? NSSO, NSO surveys, they provide some description of the phenomena. Description of the women education, description of the farmers' income, description of the village, social change in the villages. All those aspects are available. Education, employment, health, and also the developmental parameters. Those explanations, those only descriptions are available. So after reading some descriptions, what happens is you will get an idea. This is the thing, so I can conduct some research on this. All right. Suppose women education in Araku, Paderu, ITDO area is very low. Then you can conduct a research. Why? Why it is? That description helps us to formulate a research question, formulate a research problem. Then conduct a research, fresh research into why in that pocket so and the facts are so and so, right? You can come up with some explanations. These are the reasons why the NSSO data shows like this. That is an important contribution, right? So in general, any research is descriptive, but descriptive research also helps us to formulate a research question, research ideas, and conduct a fresh research. Next. So evaluation. Evaluation is one of the important programs. Some of you, all of us are doing now, easy way of doing research is evaluating one of the programs, government programs. है ना, MGNRA effectiveness working, MGNRA Jan Dhan program, how it is implementing, or any government programs, Fasal Yojana, tribal agriculture. So government programs, no, Jagan has some 20 programs. Chandrababu also 5-6 programs, 6-point formula, and before that some Super 6. Navaratnas were there, then Super 6. Then Modi every day introduces one program, new program. So these all programs are available with us. So people are, what they are doing is economics people are taking some economic aspects of that program, sociology people are taking, sociological aspects of that program and evaluating, right, and finishing their PhD work. Evaluation research is one of the important research, but you need to take it very seriously, because you are providing some policy inputs, policy lacunas on the ground, and providing some inputs, policy inputs. So therefore, evaluation studies are also very, very important, right? So now almost 40% of the research in social sciences nowadays are relying on evaluation studies. More than 40 to 50%, I can say. All are taking some or one program of the government and taking some sample and speaking to the people, analyzing and submitting PhDs without any seriousness in the approach or why they are taking up, right? It's a very important area, but you need to have some commitment. Next. Diagnostic study. So people are, last time ICSSR has given a call, special call on diagnostic studies. Also given a call on longitudinal studies. What is diagnostic study? So this also I always use in Sirisilla, you know in Telangana, anyone from Telangana state. So in Sirisilla, I might have heard about Sirisilla town. Sirisilla is handloom and powerloom weavers. So powerloom weavers are very like Mangalgiri in Andhra Pradesh, Sirisilla in Telangana. So all of weaving community are upgrading with some technology, handloom to powerloom to spinnings, mills, machine. So the different upgradations are the technological upgradations. So there, when 2009, when YSR was the chief minister, then in Sirisilla town, within weekdays, 40 to 50 weavers committed suicides. Weekdays time. Today 3, next day 4, next day another 3. Likewise, people are just like that committing suicides. Government has no clue as to what is happening in Sirisilla town, right? Why these people are committing suicides. Then they have conducted a study, immediately they have conducted a diagnostic study into then the title of the study is Diagnostic Study into the Suicides of the Powerloom Weavers in Sirisilla town of Telangana region. That was given to Nandi Foundation. Nandi Foundation is, then it was is a foundation working for government projects. So then I was part of Nandi Foundation. I was assistant manager livelihoods in Nandi Foundation then. So I was given the chance to lead that project. That along with, we have taken 10 students from Osmania University or 10 students from Central University. 25-member team, we went to Sirisilla for 1 month. We stayed there physically, 25-member team. So we have 50% of the girls, 15% boys we have taken. So almost 1,200, I think 1,200 families we interviewed. That was also an experimental research. We have a target group and control group. And we conducted, and finally, because I don't know how many of you have been to power looms, a small shed, 10 looms will be there, full of tin sheet room. In small room, 10 machines will be there rolling, and the sounds are like, you cannot imagine the volume of that sound. If you come out of the tin sheet room, you feel like, heaven. So yes, you came to heaven. That is the kind of feeling you get once you come out of that looms, that room. So people are working in that environment, very closed environment for 10 hours, 12 hours, weavers. and then finally they comes out. So what happens by this community by itself, I cannot say that it is no proven this thing, but they are very lean. This weaving community people, you see, very lean, and then they work in the sheds, and then they come out, and immediately what happens if you stand there for 10 hours, 80% of the cases people after coming out, they want to relax. Work so struggled day long. Then those days the wages was 100 rupees, 110 per day for weaver. 100 rupees they need to stand for 8 to 10 hours in the shed. So looking, the machines are operating, you need to just make some adjustments there. So when they comes out, they wanted to relax. So if I am earning 100 rupees, I cannot, those days you cannot get, you can get one food. People used to rely on easy sources, less expensive, that is toddy. You know toddy, kallu, toddy they used to, one bottle of toddy was, those days it was 10 rupees. So out of 100, one bottle may not be sufficient to me. So I want 2 bottles. So 20 rupees out of 100 I need to spend. Then again non-veg comes and all the other things. But these 20 rupees, so I want to get kick. For 10 rupees, if I cannot, if I drink original toddy, even 5 bottles may not satisfy. So I want 1 bottle, 10 rupees, full kick I want. So therefore they use some chemicals in that, and then they drink and then they go home, right? So if you go on drinking like this for years together, it affects your nervous system. After a few days you may not be able to work, and then you will become a burden for family. Right? You cannot stand, you cannot go to the work. Then you addicted to that drink, and then finally you cannot work. Then it is a liability for the family. So likewise, and then wages were very low. This is one reason, and wages were very low. There was no demand for the cloths that they are producing. There is no demand for the government is not purchasing. They have to, a whole lot of competition. From Taiwan, the cloth here 10 rupees. Taiwan people supply it 5 rupees. And government is importing all the cloth from Taiwan, not supporting these people. The government should stop that and purchase from these people, but they are importing, and it is a competitive market. They cannot match that competition. That is why there is no demand. When there is no demand, the master weavers, they don't give work to the workers. Whenever they work, they rely on, it's a very troublesome work, so they are rely on this drinking. Therefore, there's whole lot of things involved in that. Why? See, committing suicide is the last resort. One committing suicide means so last resort. Then there are many reasons. From the policy reasons are there, macro, micro, family level issues, macro, micro, and policy, overall policy, central government, state government policies, all involved. Thereby, people are committing suicide. But for our understanding, just one of the important correlation we made. So we just, out of curiosity, we made when the weavers committed suicide, when we compare, so we compared the number of siblings depending upon. Male siblings, female siblings, girls, dependency on girls, more in the family or boys, or that dependency, how it relates to the suicides. Because if it is girls' marriage ceremonies in Padmashali community, they are very ceremonies. Even they don't have money, they borrow, and ceremonies they spend a lot on ceremonies, grand. So they borrow money, and if it is girls, marriages and all, they spend a lot. So therefore, the problem is multiple issues are involved. One important thing we compared is person drinking toddy at home or outside. Person drinking toddy at home and outside, with friends and with the family. There with the family, it's a family affair. People sit and family, they can have it. It's culturally accepted. So when we compare that thing, one important finding is people with the friends committed more suicides. People with family committed less suicides. because of the family checks and balances, and then so having that in that home always is a safer thing than having with friends outside, because there is no control. So that is one of the important correlation you see. So meaning to say, diagnostic study is when there is something is happening out of your hands, you don't have any clue, immediately government go into it, and immediately in that, what is the outcome of any diagnostic study? Immediate solutions, medium solutions, and long-term solutions. What do we need to provide? Immediate solution. What are the immediate? Because people are committing suicide now, what need to be done immediately? And medium and long-term, macro level, policy level kind of provisions, right? So that is the purpose of conducting a diagnostic study, right? Title itself in diagnostic studies, title itself carries the tag diagnostic study into so and so, right? What is the time? 4:30. Another 15 minutes I'll close. 10 minutes, right? Next slide. This longitudinal study. Recently, ICSSR has given a call for longitudinal studies in India. You know the outlay of the budget? One longitudinal study budget, how much the ICSSR has given? 2 crores. Per project, 2 crores. So around, that was the maximum amount. 1 crore to 2 crore has given, because this kind of studies requires that money. Because longitudinal means every 5 years or every 3 years you need to understand the same phenomena. Earlier, researchers from Europe and America, they used to come to Indian villages. They used to adopt one village. 2001, they go to a village. When they go to village, they don't go survey. They don't adopt survey method. They go for census. Entire village they study. Right? 500 households, all 500 households they interact and see what is their income, education, and their different agriculture in that village, right? And different facilities in that village, and developmental parameters in that village. All, so the idea is to see a social change between different spells. 2001, there is a research findings on education, health, developmental parameters, mobility, marriages, all census they have done. After 5 years, again they come back, researchers. Again they visit all these 500 households. Again they see 2001 to 2005 what social change happened in the village. And again they go in 2015. Then see same sample, same 500 households, again they interviews. Again they see in 2001 to 2015, 15 years what has happened, how education has developed in that village, how agriculture has developed in that village, what kind of modern technology emerged in that agriculture, or what are the new institutions that came up in the village, new facilities, social mobility, how many people are migrating to other places, to abroad, to America, to US, what is the overall social change they can capture from a longitudinal study. That's why that requires a long spell, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years it requires, because to understand the social change in that village, right? So whenever some researcher is interested in the social change vis-a-vis government policies or changes, macro level changes, a village hamlet, how macro level policies are impacting a small hamlet, small village, how state government policies, central government policies, overall international changes, trends, climate, all these are impacting a small village in over a period of 10 years or 15 years. One can conduct a study, a longitudinal study on that, right? So that is why it requires more resources, more funding. So, and you can come up with a good, inputs, policy inputs, right? So if someone is interested in that kind of study, understanding overall national, international, state level, regional changes on the hamlet, then they can conduct such kind of studies, right? Next. Cross-sectional studies is, you are, if the people with the same characteristics but at defined time. Next. Suppose you cross-section, next slide. Cross-sectional studies, when if you are going with some women, different age groups and cancer, breast cancer, then you can see women are the socio-economic, the profile is same, but at one point of time, you are comparing the age. Which age group, 50 plus or 60 plus or 30 plus, which age group are prone to such kind of problems, one can find out, right? Next. Experimental, I told you, you can manipulate the variables, right? Twist the variables and then see, you have a target group and also experimental group. You can twist, manipulate, and then see what kind of relationship between independent and dependent variables. Sometimes one independent variable, 5 dependent variables, sometimes may 10, right? Next slide. Correlation, you see, driving. Correlation means you can see texting and driving and accidents. Texting and driving is one independent variable. Rate of accidents, dependent variable. You can see texting and driving. You see all on the roads, people with one two-wheeler, one mobile, one side they drive, and then youngsters are there, middle-aged are there, or older people also doing the same thing. One fellow, morning I was watching, one week here he was text messaging on the petrol two-wheeler tank and they're driving like this. So this is happening. So in the cars also, they use some kind of earbuds and then also some Bluetooth and then drive, right? So you can see correlation between texting and driving and then rate of accidents on the roads. Then again you can also see which age group is more prone to that. Youngsters, 100 youngsters drives texting and driving, what is the rate of suicide? 100 middle-aged people going, what is the rate of accident? And 100 old-age people going, rate of accident. Obviously, rate of accident is higher with the age or lesser with the, higher with the age, right? Next. Historical research, broadly speaking, if you want to understand what were the agricultural policies of the Nizam 200, 300 years back and vis-a-vis present day government's agricultural policies, what were the irrigation systems they used to have, what are the irrigation technologies they have now, what kind of technologies we are using, one can conduct an historical research, right? Next, quantitative, qualitative, and all next. So these are mixed methods. As I said, if you want to use mixed method research, qual to quant, quant to qual, people call it as quant to qual, qual to quant. It all depends upon the important research problem that you are working with. If your research problem requires mixed methods complementing each other, if you want to use, you can use mixed methods, but you need to define that in our kind of methodology, how we are going to approach that problem, right? Next. These are the strategies. Next. Leave it. Next. This is a triangulation. I was talking about triangulation, mixed method research. So you need to have a data triangulation, investigator triangulation, you can have a theory triangulation, methodological triangulation. That is why people use mixed methods, because quantitative data they also collect, qualitative data also they collect, and see the findings, how the methodologies are supporting each other, whether they are arriving at the same conclusion or the very big variation is there, then there is something wrong with your methodology, right? So this will help us to validate our findings, research findings, and address the validation issues, right? Next. So important aspects in research, generally you need to understand time, space, and agency of the research. So who is conducting research, that is very, very important. At what point of time, which year, which location. If I am conducting a research on empowerment, I am conducting a research in Guntur district, Mangalgiri Mandal in 2025 in Andhra Pradesh state. right? So that is the idea. So you need to be very reflective on the context, reflective on the time, reflective on your agency. So why we are talking about objectivity? Because who is conducting that research? If I am a Padmashali, I am conducting a research on Padmashalis in Mangalagiri, then non-Padmashali conducting a research on Mangalagiri, what will happen? I don't mean to say that Padmashali can do injustice to the own community or someone for that matter, but what is happening is the biases that we carry. So agency is very important. Suppose there was a debate whether the Aryans were they're from India or they are from Central Asia, right? Whether they are indigenous people of India or they have traveled from Central Asia. That was the question for historians, for all of us. Then what is the answer? Then next question is, who wrote the history? Who wrote the history? Telangana people are now, they have rewritten their history. Earlier, as part of United Andhra Pradesh, we used to follow some Andhra Pradesh history. But now Telangana has its own history. They have boycotted, discarded that United Andhra Pradesh history, and they have rewritten their history. Why? Because who written that history? You wrote the history and throw on my face. Will I accept? Shall I accept that history? I have my own idea of my history. So who wrote that history? Under which government they wrote history? That is also important, right? So Bipin Chandra wrote a history, under whose aegis he wrote that history. And now there is a time to change the history. When political regimes change, obviously they'll go to the basics and they'll change the history. So therefore, agency is important. Who has conducted that history? Who has written that article? Don't read any article book just like that. Sometimes we have an habit of carrying away with the author. Author writes something, we carry away with the author. We don't question the author. Even we travel with him, enjoy traveling with him. That is not required in social sciences. Social sciences, you need to question. You need to critical outlook one should have. So you need to consistently raising questions on the book or piece of article or anything that you read, one must question that. Don't carry away with the author or the book writer, whoever writes the article. Or you always listen debates in the TVs. We always listen political debates. Either while switching on TV, we already biased. Either if I go with Yenadu or I go with TV9 or I go with Sakshi, which TV you switch on, which channel you want to listen, you already biased. You already decided that you don't want to listen other side of the story. You want to listen some particular side of the story. Therefore, there are 10 channels. Why some people are choosing TV5, why some people are K.B.N, why some people are going for Namaste Telangana, why some people are going for Sakshi. Already you have some bias. Just per this thing. So newspapers we order every day, hard copies comes to our home. Yenadu coming or Andhra Jyoti is coming, Sakshi is coming, you are already biased. You don't want to listen to other story. Right? So therefore we are human beings, that is why we need multiple methods to understand the human beings in social science research. Right? So these are, and also when you use terms and concepts, don't use indiscriminately, just use with some understanding or applicability in our research, right? That is very, very important. Biases, as I said, biases always should be explicitly mentioned in our research, should not hide or conceal, right? Should explicitly. Therefore, the readers will get a better idea as to what you are speaking or what you are writing. So then there won't be any contradictions, right? Then limitations always we put in thesis or paper, because we are after all human beings. We cannot do an entire thing. We can only do a bit of it, and we need to have, always will have some limitations, right? Next. So reflexivity is very, very important. Always self-reflection is very, very important. Whether you are doing a original work or serious work, or you are what purpose, what methodologies you are using, you should be reflexivity is very, very important in our research. Next. This elephant fable always I use, meaning to say that, so the fact is, the truth is, multiple versions of the truth are available in the society. So don't, whether you touch a tail truth will you get. If you touch a trunk truth you will learn. But there is other side of the story always. In social sciences, this single method, single approach is not applicable. Multiple methods are required because reality is very different. So always open to the new ideas or new thoughts and new perspectives. One should open to that, accepting that. With this, I will close. If any questions, 1 or 2 questions, I will take up, and otherwise that is the end of it. Any questions? Yeah. Any questions, comments, quick question, please.
Sir, what is the difference between the longitudinal research and the evolutionary research?
Longitudinal research.
And the evolutionary research.
Yes. See, longitudinal research, as I said, it is for you understanding a trajectory of the social change over a period of 10-15 years, how the social change happening in a particular hamlet or particular system. Because depending upon the macro level policies, overall development, how that is impacting a particular hamlet or particular set of target group or population phenomena. So you see every 2 years, every 5 years, you go and undertake the same research, census research. Whereas evaluation is you are taking up a particular policy of a government, state or central government, and immediately you are providing some lacunas or some inputs for betterment of that program. Evaluating an existing program, any program of the government, right? Scheme or any scheme, you can go and see how
integrated novel development in rural areas.
Yes. Hundreds of programs are there now. Now Navaratnas, I said Navaratnas there are 6.4, Super 6 is there. Modi has 100 list of programs. So you can take up any one of that and see every policy has some scheme, has some objectives, some target groups and some benefits to the target groups. And policy makers sitting at Delhi or Amaravati, Hyderabad, they make the policies. And you see how those are happening in the ground level. Implementation in the ground level, lacunas in the implementation. You can always come up with some solutions, some suggestions, some for betterment of that program for the larger benefit of the society. Right? That is an evaluation study. Policy inputs and societal benefits, as well as you will provide from policy inputs from there.
So longitudinal research is data helpful to evaluation?
Can be. Yes. Suppose you are one longitudinal study and evaluation, both are happening in the same hamlet. You can also see that some program may see what happens is in longitudinal, one set of target groups, how social change, employment, agriculture, mobility, marriage institution. So in the earlier marriage institution was different. So we always confined to close relatives. And we always marry a girl from a known circles. Now in Hyderabad it is not possible. Known circle is 0. So all unknown circles. So you need to depend upon the marriage bureaus. And so many marriage as an institution, there is transformation, so much of transformation. Right now, you don't know whom you are marrying, you don't know, not from your own family circles, with reference, no references, external references, third-party arrangements. So therefore, you can observe how marriage institution is transition in the marriage institution. Nowadays, third-party verification is going on. If you are like, they are going for engagement, boy and girl. Boy spies on the girl, girl spies on the boy. And they take 6 months time. Then they find out some finding, then they'll cancel their engagement. And they go for some new other thing. So this third-party evaluations also. Earlier assets we need to have we used to have a third-party evaluation for assets. Now even marriages also we are engaging third parties. we give some agencies are like Hyderabad. You give a girl's photo, a boy's photo, address of working, place of working. They'll give you a report. He is good. He is good. You can go ahead with the marriage. Otherwise, they say these are the problems. You need to decide. So, marriage institution has so many changes in the marriage institution. Likewise, this helps. The longitudinal studies helps us the transition. The trajectory, how it has developed and declined will help us to learn. Policies and all there, always there, macro, micro level policies, government, state government, central government, those are also some impact on the society. But if you want to understand some institutions, how they have changed, longitudinal studies are very, very important. Okay. Any other?
Sir, how to register an ICSSR portal? What are the benefits are getting of registration?
No, this is 1 more hour time. So if you go to ICSR, just Google it. All our guidelines are, everything is there. ICSR, SRs, Hyderabad. It is self-explanatory, no need to ask anyone. All details are given. All programs are available. Read, you sit and read for half day, then you'll get complete control. Delhi also like that. No problem. Any other? If you don't have any questions, then this I'll stop it here. Thank you one and all for your patient listening and for this opportunity.
So I request all the participants to give a big round of applause once again to our distinguished speakers and resource person Dr. Jacob Kalegaru. So I would like to propose the formal vote of thanks on the session 2 of day 1, 7-day research methodology course on technology for young researchers. At first, I wish my heartfelt wishes to our distinguished resource person for enlightening, enriching, and enhancing the multi-facets of research, which is the need of the hour. And also, I express my sincere thanks to our distinguished resource person for embracing the participants, how to choose the topic, how the research methodology should be, and how the topic should be relevant to the content and the current scenarios. I hope and believe that your significant contributions and insights will definitely help our participants in making their research more proper and efficient. Undoubtedly, I believe that all the participants are more fascinated and impressed with your topic, the way you explained with the current scenarios and the current examples. All this made us to make more interest towards the research and research-related projects, etc. Thank you sir, once again for spending your valuable time and your energy in nurturing the participants to move forward in the research areas. Thank you.
Okay.
So there is a small information to all the participants. From tomorrow, the session starts at 9:30 in the same venue. So I request all the participants to be here